All right, Algebra 1B students, welcome to part 2 of lesson 9.2 on quadratic functions and their graphs. Today, we're just going to look at a specific example of a quadratic equation where it is helpful for us to find the vertex, right? Just one example problem. That's what your practice problems will be about tomorrow. So this should be a pretty quick and easy video. So, things that need to go in your notes. Start right here and on down. If an object is thrown into the air, doesn't matter what it is, a ball, a shirt, a person, whatever it is, with a certain velocity, which means speed, the height of that object is given by the equation h, which means height, equals negative 16t squared plus v times t plus h0. Now let's look at each of those pieces individually. We know h is height. T is the number of seconds it has been in the air. So t is number of seconds. V is the initial velocity that it gets thrown up into the air with. So V is for velocity. And h sub 0 is the starting height of that object. This is the starting height. What height does it start from? What height do we throw it from? Starting height. All right, that equation needs to be in your notes. Okay, h0 is starting height. Now, if we see an example of this problem, we will most likely have to write this equation ourselves and then find the vertex of it. So that's the example that we're going to look at today. Using this equation, h equals negative 16t squared plus vt plus h sub 0. And here is an example. During halftime of a basketball game, a slingshot launches t-shirts at the crowd. A t-shirt is launched with an initial upward velocity at 72 feet per second. I'm going to box around that because we're going to need that number. The t-shirt is caught 35 feet above the court. I'm going to cross that sentence out because we don't need it for our purposes. Our question is, how long will it take the t-shirt to reach the maximum height? Maximum height, that's what we're looking for. And what is the maximum height? Okay, the rest of this does not matter for us. So we have this t-shirt, and it gets launched up at a certain initial velocity. I want you to notice that it starts out 5 feet above the court. Okay, so our plus h0 will be 5 in this case. We're going to look for its maximum height. And remember, vertexes of a parabola, especially one that start negative 16, vertexes are a maximum or a minimum, but in our case a maximum today. So let's see if we can write this equation then. I'll slide this up here. H equals, I know it's going to start negative 16t squared plus, remember that our formula is initial velocity times time. So that's going to be 72 times time, 72t, plus the height we start from, which is plus 5. Okay? So the 72 came from here. The 5 came from right here. And the negative 16t squared is always that way. Right? H equals negative 16t squared plus 72t plus 5. Now, to answer the questions, we need to find the vertex. So I'm going to grab all this stuff, bring it down. So remember from our last video that this little formula here, negative b divided by 2a, gives the x-coordinate of the vertex. Okay, that gives the x-coordinate. So my b value from here is 72. B is 72. A, of course, is negative 16, and C is 5, but that doesn't really matter for us, right? A, B, C. So if I do negative B is a negative 72, and I divide that by 2 times my A value is negative 16, that's going to equal negative 72, oops, not negative 75. Negative 72 divided by negative 32. Negative over negative becomes positive. 72 divided by 32 is 2.25. 2.25. So what does that mean? That gives the x-coordinate of our vertex. But remember, in our equation, we don't have an x, do we? Our independent variable is a t. Right, so this really is our t-coordinate. And t means time. So the t-shirt takes 2.25 seconds, because t is in seconds, to reach its peak. That's question number 1. How long did it take to reach its maximum height? 2.25 seconds. How high did it go? That's easy enough. Once we have our x value, we just plug 2.25 in for t. Plug 2.25 in for t. So we end up with the height is equal to negative 16 times 2.25 squared plus 72 times 2.25 plus 5. 2.25 squared. Let's figure out what that is. 2.25 squared is 5.0625. If I times that by negative 16, I get negative 81. I'm going to add on to that 72 times 2.25, which equals 162. And then I'm going to add 5 as well. So plus 162 plus 5. And negative 81 plus 162 is positive 81. Plus 5 is 86. Okay. So 86 feet is its maximum height. 86 feet. So we've answered both questions. How long did it take to reach its peak? 2.25 seconds. How high did it go? 86 feet. Now, if we wanted to write the vertex of this parabola, it would just be 2.25, comma, 86. 2.25 seconds gives us an output of 86 feet. That's the maximum, that's the vertex. So really we're just finding the vertex, once again, in a little bit different context. And I would like you to try that now. Suppose that t-shirt is really launched with an upward velocity of 164 feet per second. We will still start from 5 feet up. How long will it take the t-shirt to reach its maximum height? How far above the court level will it be? So write yourself an equation, h equals something, and find the vertex, please. All right, the equation that we should have set up here. H equals, again, negative 16t squared will always be the same in these types of problems. Plus initial velocity times time plus 5. And if you find the vertex using your formula, negative 64 over negative 32 will give you 2 seconds. And a height of, that's not correct. That is not 86 feet. That is a height of 2 squared is 4. Negative 1/3, negative 64. Negative 64 plus 132, 64 plus 5, 69 feet up in the air. All right. If you have any questions about finding the time or the height of the vertex of this type of parabola, please make a note to ask me in class tomorrow. Otherwise, that's all I have for you. Have a wonderful night.